Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Waltoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Coca-Cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, indiscipline angers senior police officers. Mahendra Chaudhry still wants a shot at elections, and pre-polling likely before September 17th. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The Fiji police force is under immense pressure after reports of indiscipline and laxity. Mikalonga reports some people have gone to the extent of calling those high up in the government to vent their frustration.
Police Chief of Operations ACP Rusati Tunrabu isn't a happy man. Complaints against police officers are increasing by the day.
I'm not taking it lightly because that's the image of the force as a whole. As we try to improve, be professional in the things that we do.
Tunrabu has revealed that people are calling the head of police, ministers and even the head of government to express disappointment.
People are calling straight to the Prime Minister. They are calling straight to other ministers on the service of the police officers. That is not going to be tolerated. Once we receive that, they will be investigated. Should we find out that there is evidence of laxity, we will deal with them accordingly.
They should be punished because they should be maintaining law and order.
Some officers should be sacked because they are not doing their job.
As the police force fights an uphill battle against indiscipline and unprofessional conduct, it's also looking for more intensive training of officers.
As we go hard with them, we know that we also have a role to play from the management point of view. So we are trying our best to get all the workshops and most of the trainings being done, just to let our supervisors be empowered with all the necessary tools that are with them so that they can manage complaints against our service.
Complaints of indiscipline and laxity have seemed to reach a stage where members of the public are beginning to lose faith in the ability of the Fiji police force to deal with its own men and women. Mikalonga, FBC News.
Sentencing submissions in the case of Fiji Labour Party leader Mahendra Chaudhry ended in the Suva High Court today. Chaudhry's lawyers submitted that any decision by the court should still allow him to contest the September elections. Chanel Sivan is following the case.
Lawyer Matthew Hutchins told Judge Justice Paul Madigan to take into account the events of 2000 when Chaudhry was deposed from an elected government and held as hostage for 54 days, subjected to torture and physical abuse. He said Chaudhry was also imprisoned for 6 days in 1987. Hutchins says because of his contribution to Fiji, a conviction should not be entered against Chaudhry, allowing him to take part in the 2014 general elections. The court was told Chaudhry wants to remain the FLP leader and still carries hopes of standing in the elections.
Justice Madigan said Chaudhry always denied the charges and showed no remorse throughout the trial. He said the Labour leader should have been mindful that this conviction would destroy his political career. Chaudhry's medical records show he has diabetes and heart problems.
Prosecution lawyer Mosese Korovo submitted the court can confiscate the 2.5 million Fijian dollars in Chaudhry's Australian accounts and impose a fine. Chaudhry told the court he has a house in Suva with an insurance value of $250,000 and a car worth $60,000. Chaudhry's lawyer also produced 3 character witnesses, former military officer Rati Pelinganilau, former parliamentarian Taofa Vakatale and Catholic priest Father Kevin Ba. All of them took the stand to say Chaudhry is an honest and a hardworking person. Sentencing is at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
The National Federation Party is not happy about the layout of the ballot papers for the September elections. Party leader Dr. Biman Prasad says they have also noted the limited time frame allowed for voter education before the polls. Vosita Kote Wasawasa reports.
The NFP says the ballot paper will confuse voters. Dr. Prasad is also concerned at the way voters will be assisted during the September polls.
We feel that the ballot paper itself, say somebody is assisting, all the focus and trust and reliance would be on the person who is assisting the voter, and there would be questions about what happens during that assistance.
In terms of finding that number, we are not forcing a voter to vote quickly. You have the time to vote, and you can take your time to find the number of the candidate you're looking for and vote for that person. It is critically important at this point that the voters first get their information correct.
The NFP is not happy with the time frame in educating voters.
Voters would not have any idea until the 25th of August, when they will get the numbers, when the candidates will be getting the numbers, drawn randomly, and we will have basically less than 3 weeks, political parties and indeed the Electoral Commission and all those people involved in the voter education will have basically less than 3 weeks to tell the voters the candidate's number for whom they want to vote.
So the Fijian Elections Office will operate on the premise that we will educate all voters to have the necessary information that would allow them to vote. We will provide inside the polling stations candidates list, which will have photos and names of the candidates that the voter wishes to vote for.
The Elections Office remains adamant that they will maintain the ballot paper as prescribed in the electoral decree, as they are mandated to do so. Sinim says if there is any change to be made to the ballot paper, the Elections Office will implement it. Vasita Kotimwasawasa, FBC News.
The Fijian Elections Office will hold pre-polling in remote locations. Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Sanim says there could be a 2-week window for people living away from the major centres. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
Voters in parts of Lau and the Lamaiviti groups may be able to vote before September 17.
Pre-polling is actually going to work in favour of those voters and also assist the Fijian Elections Office in being able to facilitate the elections to get properly and allow proper access to everybody.
Mohammed Sanim says in order to ensure that the voting process runs smoothly in these locations, elections officials will need to be there well before time.
What we will do is in the remote locations we will go in advance of 17th of September and conduct voters actually conduct polling in those areas, so that it doesn't become an operational issue come 17th of September.
The supervisor of elections says every remote location where people will vote will be manned on or before election day.
In our planning process, we have worked out that the remote locations will need to have been reached well before 17th of September, so that the number of hours we intend to open all polling stations together and all that works out.
There's still no decision yet on when those hired for the polls will cast their votes.
There is a possibility they can vote before the elections. We have to work that out in terms of how they will vote and when they will vote.
Pre-polling will favour voters in the remote locations. It will help the Elections Office and also allow proper access for every eligible voter. Postal voting is also being considered, and the Elections Office will release details later. Eleanor Tarangaivu, FBC News.
Chlorine tablets proving successful, that's after the break.
Golnga elambasa Mbula FM number 2 na sere.
Ndo talita kana borong na Mbula FM number 2 na sere su.
Kau buat tu gerak-geraki au rebot juga ni stima. Au ndo talita kana borong na Mbula.
Bola bina Fiji, Bola FM number 2 singa toka.
Bola bina eran roga. Bola FM number 2 tikoga.
Bola FM number 2 na sere.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The Permanent Secretary for Lands, Tevita Mbosewanga, has reassured the Itauke community that the Land Use Decree, which established the Land Bank, was drafted to act in the best interest of landowners. Mbosewanga says the decree promotes transparency, goodwill and dialogue between the landowners, leasees and the state. Mikalonga with this exclusive story.
I've mentioned that this
PS for Lands, Tevita Mbosewanga's interview with FBC News was a follow-up on illegal advice he had sought from the Solicitor General's office on whether landowners can seek legal redress over any matter that may arise while their land is administered by the Land Bank.
in the Land Use Decree, it doesn't really allow that, if you look at it. And I think in one of our talkback shows, we were questioned about it.
Tevita Mbosewanga, however, says the Land Use Decree has other mechanisms of addressing issues through mediation and dialogue outside of court.
They look at grievances being raised. The onus is on us to work on those, to have a mechanism in place, like a grievances committee, or an appeals committee, where we can always refer grievances. But I think the bottom line here is the more we consult, critical decisions to be made with the native landowners, the better. After looking through the decree,
Mbosewanga explained the Itauke community also has the option to ask for the return of their land from the Prime Minister after 5 years.
That's in the regulation, the Land Use Decree regulation, to cease after 5 years. So within the 5 years, we can assume that development has taken place, which is the objective. So if we add all this up, we can see the intention.
The objective of the Land Use Decree, Mbosewanga says, is to use idle Itauke land in the best interest of the landowners. Tevita Mbosewanga says the intention of the decree is also to cut out the bureaucracy that slows down the development process. Nikalonga, FBC News.
Nandi Sangam Primary School has become the first primary school in Fiji to be declared tobacco-free. Akosita Tale reports involvement in the tobacco control campaign will discourage its students from smoking and improve the health of future generations.
It's my great honor to unveil the first tobacco-free school in Fiji.
This is part of the Health Promoting Schools initiative by the Education Ministry and the World Health Organization. As a member of the 84 schools in the program, Nandi Sangam has shown it's serious about its students and teachers following a healthy lifestyle.
What you're doing here today is something that many people, many schools from not just this region but all around the world will get inspired, because your story will not just stay here, it will get told, it will be told, I will certainly tell it.
The decision to declare schools tobacco-free is also seen as an important factor in quality education for Fijian children.
Tobacco-free schools will protect our children from the risks of smoking and more so secondhand smoking.
The TISI Sangam says it looks forward to extend this tobacco-free initiative to the rest of its 20 primary schools, 5 colleges and a tertiary institution.
Of course, declaring our school tobacco-free will move a step further as no tobacco products will be allowed in a school. The impact will surely create awareness and discourage young people from smoking and improving health of generations to come.
4 other schools in the Lautoka and Nandi region have shown keen interest in joining the tobacco-free school initiative. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Since the Water Authority introduced its tablet feeder scheme in 2012, 5 villages have benefited from cleaner chlorine-treated water.
A total of 185 villages were originally identified to benefit from the scheme. The WEF is working closely with the Ministry of Health and the Water Quality Assessment Team to identify the next 50 villages to benefit from the project next month.
Like from the Ministry of Health are the ones that the villages that identified for cases in typhoid or another waterborne disease. Yeah. Those are the ones that are targeted first right now.
Villagers who will be benefit from the scheme are advised to support the officers that will install the treatment equipment.
And should our WEF personnel come over and go about their tasks they've been assigned to do in your areas, we request your kind assistance.
Grateful to the government of the day. I'm so grateful to the Water Authority of Fiji, Mr. Chaudhry, for their sterling efforts and the efforts of their staff in Tano and Tavioni. I'm thankful to the Rokotue, the Konrove, for being able to speak to them, to come and see our water tanks that have not been serviced for the last 40 to 60 years. They have checked the water. I'm told that chlorine has been placed in the tanks and the concrete tanks.
Villagers that need water purification service must pay 1/10 of the cost. This is in line with government policy for a need to have treatment water supplied in rural areas. Sabera Tabua, FBC News. Fijians will have an in-depth look at the nation's history with the launching of a TV program called Back in Time. Josephine Navula reports it's produced by the Ministry of Information.
The launch of the Back in Time program is a historic moment for every Fijian living in any part of the world. Archive footage will be used in the program showing how modern Fiji was shaped decades ago. Permanent Secretary Sharon Smith-John says modern technology played a huge role in bringing back to life hundreds of hours of priceless Fijian history.
However, the road getting there wasn't easy. Hours of video reels had to be assessed and restored, digitalised and preserved. Sadly, due to the mismanagement of past governments, a great part of our nation's history was lost. This, of course, only strengthened our resolve to begin work to restore this priceless collection.
The program will take us back to a journey to Fiji's rich historical past, which is of historical significance for benefit of younger generation and refreshes the old.
We're also encouraged by the strong support demonstrated by the Prime Minister towards the reforms carried out in the National Archives of Fiji. Apart from this program, reforms have taken place at the National Archives have produced great results. The recent discovery of the instruments of independence that we feared lost forever to the nation was found.
Innovative program of Back in Time will feature events and moments that have shaped our nation. Josephine Nabula, FBC News.
Jamie joins us now with today's sports.
Good evening. After the break, Mbati coach Rick Stone ready for some explosive rugby this Saturday. And Julie Hornweg names Fiji Pearls for Tri-Series. This and more coming up.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची एफएम लंबा पैकेट.
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot. देखे में लाल लाल खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi tauwa में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva. It's hot.
हम वहीं लंबा समय रहता है. तो क्या बताएं हम मिर्ची एफएम सुनता है.
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Vodafone Fiji Mbati is gearing up for its biggest game of the year this Saturday against Samoa. Coach Rick Stone is ready to unleash one particular player who has had a remarkable journey from a hotel porter to the big leagues in Australia.
He's really mature, that's got some really good international form around their game. So now we've got plenty of blokes who have done the same. So yeah, it should be a good contest, and you know we're playing Samoa with plenty of respect. We understand they're a good team, they're an explosive team, and they can score points quickly. So it'll be really interesting on Saturday night.
Etonia Nambuli will be one of 3 players that will make his international debut for the Mbati side. Nambuli was discovered by NRL legend Brad Fiedler while working as a hotel porter in Nandi 2 years ago. And Stone says the 26-year-old has the makings of a great winger.
Oh, mate, I've been impressed with him so far. He's a really good athlete, got a great frame, he's good under the high ball. His work ethic's good, you know, he makes good decisions and, you know, he carries the ball strong. So, mate, he's a good young prospect and hopefully he can stay in the Fiji side for a number of years.
Neither side will want to back down from this contest as a win guarantees a maiden appearance in the Four Nations tournament against Australia, New Zealand and England. Certainly a chance not to be missed. Chalendora Kavak, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, Samoa has named a number of NRL stars to take on the Mbati. Included amongst them is Rani Maitua, who plies his trade with the Canterbury Bulldogs. The former Australian international believes it's time for the Samoan side to step up and make a mark.
Samoa's got such a bright future, and that little bit of incentive to play in the Four Nations is great for the future of Samoans. And like, I'm seeing a trend now that younger players want to represent Samoa instead of playing for New Zealand or playing for Australia, and that's great. In the next 10 years, you know, Samoa can be the top nation. We've got so much talent throughout the islands and through Australia and New Zealand that it's kind of unstoppable.
Fiji Pearls head coach Julie Hornweg has named her 12-member team for the Digicel Tri-Series next week. It includes a new vice-captain and 2 debutants. Elena McDonald has more.
As an invitee to the national squad, this 17-year-old Liline Memorial student has sacrificed a lot to make the final cut. She also knows that even though she's made the top 12, training is going to get tougher.
Trying to pair myself with the team, it's very hard for me, so I had to keep up with my fitness as well as the skills I need to keep up. So because I'm new, and the national team, they are all experienced players. So
meanwhile, after 6 years of playing at the national level, this quick-footed centre gets to take on a new responsibility.
I think I will have to put a little bit more effort since we are playing at our home ground, and we are trying our best to win at home, here at home.
A timely boost with preparations for the Tri-Series heading towards overdrive this week.
We got to the top of the hill this morning and started to see some great success. So I'm really excited about the series now. I was a little bit worried earlier in the week. My hair was starting to go a bit greyer than it was, but I think we're getting there now, and they put a lot of effort into this morning, so I'm really pleased and looking forward to challenging ourselves at the international standard.
Matila Wanganindrola continues her captaincy, while there's a second debutant in Deborah Delana. Meanwhile, Digicel has provided $15,000 in sponsorship for the event, now known as the Digicel Tri-Series +1. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
Nandi takes on Northland in Skipatuna Provincial Rugby this weekend. It's been a while since Nandi held any top titles, and it is looking at this match to start its challenge for 2014. Indra Singh has more.
Once a provincial giant of local rugby, Nandi has been working hard to get its 2014 campaign back on track.
All in all, I think we've worked on our weakness from our last game against Naitasir in Ratongbo Park.
It's all about getting the crucial points during the round-robin stages, and Nandi hasn't had the best of start to 2014, losing to Naitasiri in the first round.
Coaches have been stressing on the improvements from our last game against Naitasiri.
And the side is banking on a player with tremendous experience to lead the charge at Gatwood Park and rake in their first win.
Well, we have a few experienced players in the team. The team will be led by the experienced Kelly Piquet Romo. He's an experienced player capable to lead Nandi for encounter against Northland this week.
As the Jet Setters work hard in the wet to ensure a win is the end result on Saturday, the chances of having the supremacy could start. However, 2 consecutive losses could just be the start of a derailment of their season. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
That was your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Fiji Care Insurance Limited is likely to resume paying dividends after a 4-year dry spell. According to the annual report, the company increased profits from $300,000 in 2012 to more than $670,000 last year. Company Chairman Philip Thomas says more business and reduced expenses helped improve performance, and subject to board approval, dividends should be paid out. He says investment yield continues to be pitiful. Fiji Care is looking at direct lending such as car loans and home mortgages. The insurance company intends to write $1 million in annual property premiums during the course of 2014. Weather time now. Hopefully there is some good news with weather today, Trish.
Well, the good news might have to wait until the weekend. Right now, the trough of low pressure that has been lingering over the Fiji group continues to bring cloudy skies and showers to most centers. There were cloudy skies and scattered rain in all 6 major centers, but we did see some clearing in the west late in the day. Looking at today's temperatures, the lowest was Nadi with 24, then Ba was on 25. Here in the capital Suva, we hit 26, still on the cooler side of things, and Lautoka was on 27. Savu was a bit warmer than the rest with 30, and Lambasa was on 31. However, high humidity made it feel much warmer. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, starting again with Suva and the hidden paradise of Savu, there will be brief showers in the morning with a chance of it clearing in the afternoon. For Nadi, Lautoka, Ba and Lambasa, expect some morning cloudiness, maybe a shower or two, followed by afternoon clearing. Let's look at today's image of the day. Here's a really beautiful morning shot taken by Wally Granville at the USP Lodala campus.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. The main points again: indiscipline angers senior police officers. Mahendra Chaudhry still wants a shot at elections, and pre-polling likely before September 17th. Our poll question this week, we're asking, are you satisfied with the services provided by municipal councils? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's all from us tonight. Till tomorrow at the same time. Good evening.
Ito singa ta kondo tali ta na barong na radio Fijuan na station ngal mutua.
Ako na koro ko na tali ta. Mandau tali ta kini na barong radio Fijuan.
Kitongo isu untuk tali ta na barong na radio Fijuan station ngal mutua.
Keto tali ta na radio Fijuan. Na radio Fijuan ento tali ta kitalanga Sintoka.
Station ni Machino Binatia na radio Fijuan. Kompa Beyanyan.
Na radio Fijuan nandu mo ibitin bonga ni BNN.